Hey guys, it's Nadine. I wanted to share with you guys my very first vlog. Now, I have been asked by tons of people in the past if I would ever consider vlogging, and the truth is that my normal everyday life is just not exciting. And so I don't think that I have a lot of footage that would be any different to share with you guys every single day to vlog. So I'm like, no, never, never. However, I have been traveling quite a bit, and I wanted to share with you guys some of my traveling vlogs. And this is what I'm going to do. Every time I do something fun that is outside of my norm, I will definitely vlog and share with you guys what I'm doing. So if in case you guys are visiting where I'm visiting, you guys can check out some of the places that I'm going to recommend along in my vlogs. So this time we actually went with some friends. We were there for business and pleasure, and the best part of it is that not only did we meet up with one of our very best friends who happens to be husband and wife. Her husband is best friends with my husband, and I am best friends with her. And her name is Sherry, and we love them to the max. And then we actually met my sister there, so it was stinking awesome. So stay tuned, and we're gonna get started with my very first vlog. And this time I went to San Francisco. So we left on a Wednesday night actually, and I think our flight was at 7 o'clock. And it was a little hair-raising when we got into San Francisco, or SFO, because when we were trying to land, there was actually a plane that was trying to land at the same time as we were. And if you see that little light to the left of our plane, that is actually the plane that was trying to land at the same time. And the funny thing is, he was kind of in our blind spot, so everybody who was sitting on the left side of the plane, we kind of got really paranoid. We were like, is the pilot, does he know that there's somebody there? Luckily, we actually landed first, but I knew it was going to be a great trip, because the minute we landed, oh my gosh, and we got off the plane and we got into the airport, I was greeted by macaroons. And you guys know macaroons are my favorite. I have been loving on macaroons for the last year, little over a year, maybe March will make a year that I've had my very first taste of macaroons. And so as we got off the plane at SFO, there was a little deli that actually had a wide variety of macaroons sitting in the case, just waiting for me to purchase. Now, we stayed at the Westin St. Francis on Geary Street, and this hotel is actually in the prime location if you're in San Francisco, because it's right around the Union Square area, and there's a lot of shopping and whatnot. It's just central to everything. So after check-in, which by the way, if you're a Starwood member, check-in is very, very, very quick if you go to a Westway. He also asked us if we were going to have something to eat and what were our plans for the evening, since the night was still young. So we told him that we were still kind of hungry. We were a little bit hungry, and he had suggested a little pizza joint down the street, along with a little bar area to go and check out. So he told us that he would call ahead for us to the bar, and it was awesome. So at that we went upstairs, dropped our bags off, did a little bit of unpacking, and then we came back down and met our friends in their hotel, the bar next to their hotel. They stayed across the street, on the cross street, or on the side street called the Handlery. That was the hotel that they stayed in, and we met them in the bar located in their hotel, which is called the Daily Grill. Now, if you're in San Francisco and you get there pretty early, this is a really great place to hang out and have a drink. Quaint little bar, kind of like reminds me of Cheers, you know? Nice wood all over. The bartenders are really cool. However, it was a little bit late, like 9 o'clock, and they were doing last call. So we had one drink, and then we were going to go venture off to the pizza place. And the pizza place that we went to, or that our concierge recommended, it was just really tiny joint, and it had half of the establishment served pizza, and the other half served cheeseburgers. And so my husband and I split a cheeseburger, and then we made our way over to our concierge suggestion, which was called the Redwood Room. And once you enter the glass doors of the Redwood Room, it's really cool. It's a really cool environment. There's this humongous chair. I don't know what for. I guess people start to take pictures in it, but I guess they're known for that chair where you can sit in it, take pictures. It reminds me kind of Great Gatsby, that feel where there's lots of wood, lots of old time chandeliers and whatnot, and they have this great wall of all kinds of whiskeys and liquor. It was really awesome. Luckily, because our concierge called ahead, he was able to reserve us a table, because the bar was actually really packed. For a Thursday night, I'm actually pretty impressed. They had really great drinks. So we sat down, talked story, oh my gosh, laughed our butts off. It's always great to have friends along, because it's just fuel for the soul. So we had a really great time for our first night. We got up that morning. We were really hungry, and one of my friends on Instagram, she had mentioned this a bunch of places to try out in San Francisco. However, one of them was a little bit too far, and my friend Sherry, she was like extremely hungry. So we asked the doorman where he would suggest, and he actually gave us a suggestion for this place called Sears Fine Food that was literally right up the street, about 100 paces up the street from our hotel. So that's where we went. I happened to have a short stack, because I'm a short person, pancakes and bacon, and my friend Sherry, she had pancakes too, but she also had an omelet and some hash browns. And we usually eat the same thing, so a lot of times we share. So as you can see, here's her little plate that she has some pancakes, bacon, and some omelets. Now, after we were done eating and paid our bill, the waiter, he gave us this coin, and he was like, go over to the machine and go ahead and put it in and see if you win anything. And the bad thing is we didn't win anything. We tried it twice and no win, no luck, but that's okay. It was fun anyways. The very first place we headed to was DSW. Oh my gosh, I have never been into a DSW that was 4 stories tall. I was in love with this DSW, and as you can see, here is one of the shoes that I actually liked. Now, one of the other great things about San Francisco, it is very pet friendly. So I saw tons of dogs on the street. Well, not tons, let's get a grip. At least in that one day, our very first day there, day 2 for me, I must have seen about 5 different dogs. And look at this little Shiba Inu. Oh my gosh, this precious little thing sat so nicely while his owner was looking at shoes. And you could pass by and he didn't bark, he didn't growl, he just sat there really nicely, minding his own business, and he didn't even chew the shoe on the ground. If we were my dogs, there would have been a ruckus up in there. They would have been eating shoes, they would have been barking at people, they would have been like making a mad mess. So I was so impressed with this little Shiba Inu that I had to actually show you guys how cute and adorable he was. Now, what would San Francisco be if we didn't get a view of a trolley or the streetcar? Oh my gosh, the one that's in front of us is actually one that goes on to Powell and Hyde. Now, here's another great first. My friend Sherry had never tried Lush products, and so I took her, we walked down a little bit on Geary Street, and I took her to her very first Lush experience, and it was awesome. After Lush, my friend Sherry and I, we walked over to H&M. However, the great part of it was right when we were in H&M, my sister calls me and tells me that she said she had already landed and had already been to her hotel to drop off, and she was staying at the same hotel as we were. She had dropped off her bags and was ready to meet us. As we were shopping at H&M, my sister was like, I think my stomach's growling, we gotta go get something to eat. I'm like, all right, fine. Sherry and I had just had a late breakfast, so we really weren't that hungry, but we wanted to get something for my sister to eat. So we walked over to this little restaurant bar called Bartlett Hall, and my sister had some fries, and we sat there and drank. And we just started talking and having fun and laughing and laughing and laughing. And by the time we knew it, we had spent like several hours in that bar. Now, while the girls were out shopping and drinking in the bar, my husband and his best friend went over to this place called Swan's Oyster Depot. Now, this actual little restaurant is literally a hole in the wall. It's a 16-seater eatery. However, my husband said that they had the best oysters and crab that he's tasted. They had was these things called crab back, which is you can have crab legs and then give you an entire crab. So what they had was an entire crab, legs and all, but what they're known for is they break the crab, the back off, and then they take out all of the guts or innards or whatever it's called. It's called crab fat, they call it, and that's supposed to be used when you dip it with your bread and whatnot. So here's a quick view from our room, which actually came from my husband's phone because I completely forgot to take a video of the inside of our room. So let me share another funny thing with you guys. I am actually afraid of heights. And we were on the 17th floor. And I didn't realize when we were at our hotel until we got into the elevator that our elevator was one of those that is glass and you can see outside. So lo and behold, I would find myself closing my eyes whenever I was in the elevator. Wow. Faster than I like. all took a cab over to our restaurant. Now we visited this restaurant called Cottage. It is the oldest restaurant in San Francisco, and they are known for their Chio Pino. Now I'm not a huge Chio Pino person, but my husband loves it, and so we were like, okay, we are game, we're gonna go there. So our very first night in San Francisco, we went to this restaurant called Cottage. Now Cottage is a great little place. It's very deceiving. When you walk in the door, it looks very old and you're not really sure what you're gonna expect. However, it is one of those places that is weirdly rather large. In the middle of Cottage is actually a bar that you can eat around, or they also do have tables and then these little alcoves for private dinners. We were lucky to have our own little alcove for our private dinner, and let me just tell you, the food there is excellent. Started off our meal with crab claws cocktail, which is kind of like a shrimp cocktail, but you dip it in the cocktail sauce. Same thing, same concept, and followed by, I happen to have what they call deep fried crab claws. My husband, of course, he had the Chio Pino. And let me just say this, like I said before, I'm not a big Chio Pino person. However, his Chio Pino was stinking delicious, to the point where he says, I gotta taste his dish. So I did. I took the bread, or they give you some toast with your Chio Pino. I dipped that into the gravy or the sauce. Chio Pino is a seafood like stew that is made in a tomato sauce, or tomato, soup kind of thing. And let me tell you what, it is so stinking delicious. I highly recommend this place. If you guys ever go to San Francisco, try out Cottage. Now we were done with dinner pretty early, so we headed back to our hotel area. And the great thing about San Francisco at night is that there are a lot of street performers, and so you can pretty much catch all kinds of people doing all kinds of things. And you know what? Some people might say it's weird. I happen to love it. Like this guy, he was playing Jimi Hendrix. Oh my gosh, it was awesome. Still young, we looked on Yelp and decided to go and check out some bars around our hotel. And one of them we went to, took a little bit of a walk, maybe like about a 4-minute walk up this hill, and it was called Owl Tree. Oh my gosh, this is the epitome of a corner bar. First of all, you walk in, it's actually in the corner. Very, very quaint. The ambiance there was like so cool. It was really kind of dark. Everything was candlelit. They had a really great bar. However, seating was a thing. The bar is so small that you're lucky if you can get seats. Luckily, we had gotten there at the end of a basketball game, so people were leaving, and so they actually had room for us to sit, which was awesome. So we stayed there and drank for a few hours, and it was just really quaint. It wasn't too loud, it wasn't too much. It was just a really great bar to sit in, to catch up with friends, to have drinks that really weren't that expensive, by the way, because things can get really pricey when you are in the city like this. But it was just fun, nice and warm, just really great atmosphere. Day 2 started off with the girls gathering downstairs in our hotel lobby, where we actually had a Starbucks, and we would always start our day either with coffee for my sister and Sherry and some tea for myself. Our plan was to catch a cab and visit a Asian foot massage place. Based on Yelp reviews, we decided to visit a place called Delightful Foot Massage on Polk Street on Nob Hill. And if you've never had an Asian massage, what you do is they put you on a massage table, fully clothed, and then they give you a massage from the head to your feet, and it's awesome. Is it relaxing, but it's also stinking inexpensive. It's $40 for 70 minutes. Again, let me tell you, $40 for 70 minutes, the cheapest massages I have ever had. Next, I convinced my sister and Sherry to come with me to Japantown for a little bit of an adventure. The stationary addict in me had some plans for places I wanted to go and visit. One of the funniest things was, as I was walking down the street in Japantown, I saw one of these little tea houses that was mentioned on one of my favorite YouTube channels. Her name is Whaley. We weren't in the mood for tea sandwiches, so we kind of passed it up. Our first stop in Japantown was the Kinokuniya building. It's a little bit of a tiny mall, and it has a bunch of Asian shops and Asian restaurants in it, and I had a kick out of these ninja boots. I thought my kids would probably like it. But in this mall happens to be one of my favorite Japanese bookstore, which is called Kinokuniya, and everything in it is Japanese, and I can understand Japanese, but there are some things that I was looking for on a suggestion by one of my friends called Mitz, who's actually here on YouTube. He had suggested some of these doodling books, and I was determined to find some for my daughter and myself. And that I did. My only regret is not really understanding what the heck the book said, and then not having my good friends around me to be able to translate. Because one of my best friends, Steph, and also my other good friend Joy, they both speak and understand Japanese language. So I wish I had them there. Second stop in this building was to a little shop called Maido, and oh my god, if you're a stationery lover, then you need to check out Maido because they have everything you could ever want in the form of stationery. Pens, mechanical pencils, notebooks, planners, any kind of artistry things. They have pencil cases, they have stamps. I mean, just so many things. It was a little bit overwhelming for me, honestly. And if you're a sticker lover, oh my god, their wall of stickers is ridiculous. I didn't need any, so I didn't buy any, but nonetheless, I was in awe. Stop number 3 for this stationery lover took us to a place called Daiso. And this is my third time going to a Daiso. The first 2 times was actually 2 of them that was in Seattle. Now, this one I have heard is actually bigger than the ones in Seattle, so I was so stinking excited to go here. When you get in there, it is kind of overwhelming, as a matter of fact, because there's just so many things. Now, Daiso stores have everything you could ever want. That's either $1.50 or $3. Some of them are $3, but most of them are $1.50. And if you are a planner addict, this is where you have seen a lot of people get some of their planner stuff from. Both my sister and my girlfriend are not stationery addicts, so they could not relate to the joy that I was having as I was walking around Daiso and just in heaven. After all that shopping, we were a little bit hungry and we decided to go to a ramen stand, which is this little itty-bitty hole-in-the-wall place that had really great ramen or noodle soup. We all had the same thing, shiro ramen, which is noodles in a soy-based sauce with thinly sliced pieces of pork and a side order of gyoza. That evening, my sister decided to stay in the hotel and get some room service because she wasn't feeling well. But the rest of us decided that we were going to go have some dinner at the pier, which I had never been to the pier before. But let me just tell you what, this night was the perfect night to be at the pier, seated outside, because the weather was just perfect. So if you have never been to the pier before, it is really actually very cool. It is an older building that has this really great clock tower on it, and I just love the feel of it. As you walk inside, you can either catch a ferry to go and sightsee or, wherever your destination is, or you can check out some of these little smaller shops within the marketplace, and they also have restaurants too. We happen to be going to the back of the pier on the actual waterfront to have dinner at this place called Hogs Island Oyster Company. Now, Hogs Island Oyster Company doesn't take any reservations, so it's really first come, first serve. Luckily, when we got there, although it is pretty packed, our wait was not too long at all. It was like maybe 15-minute wait in the line. My husband ended up sharing appetizers of oysters, actually 2 trays of oysters, because it was so stinking good and they love them. And then he ended up having their Chiopino or Hogs Island Chiopino for dinner, while I had shrimp and grits. And being from the South, or living in the South, I actually am a lover of shrimp and grits. And let me just say that this shrimp and grits at Hogs Island Oyster Company was awesome. After dinner, I started craving for something a little bit sweet and chocolatey, so I ended up stopping by Pete's Coffee Shop and having their newest addition to their menu.
Is that the chocolate?
As we left the pier after dinner, I just had to take in all the sights and sounds of the city because I cannot tell you guys really just how much I love San Francisco, the Bay Area actually. Well, I just love California in general, honest to God. I mean, the weather is just so beautiful. There's so many things to do. Not only is there, hills and mountains, which we lack here in Texas, but just the vibe to me is really laid back and cool. So then we headed back to our area of town, or nearest our hotel, and we ended up at this place called Johnny Foley's, which is an Irish pub. And it's a really cool feel with all of these portraits of like different big name celebrities on the wall. While we were sitting there having some drinks, the bouncer came up to us and said, hey, you know what, if you guys are interested, in our cellar they have this thing called a dueling piano bar, which I had never been to one before, but I'll tell you what, it was the best and most funnest night ever. So much so that we closed the place down and paid dearly the next day. So day 3 was a Saturday, and this was actually going to be our last day that our friends was going to be in San Francisco with us. So we decided to meet them downstairs, and we were all going to catch cabs over to Fisherman's Wharf. As we were waiting for our friends to meet us to catch our cabs, we actually were able to witness an Indian wedding right in front of our hotel. Now, I had never been to an Indian wedding before, but let me tell you what, there was so much music and everybody was dancing, and it just seemed like so much freaking fun that I almost wish I was invited to that wedding. Anyhow, here comes, if you look at this video, you'll see that the groom actually gets brought in on the back of something, and this groom happens to be on the back of a horse. And let me just tell you what, if you can see him, he's like so reveling in all the attention he's getting. It kind of just cracked me up. But I loved being a part of this and watching it as a, like a bystander. It was pretty awesome. And if anybody has an Indian wedding, invite me because I want to come. So after crashing the Indian wedding, we finally made our way down to Fisherman's Wharf. And this is my friend Sherry's very first time to the wharf, so I was kind of excited that we were a part of her first experiences there. The wharf was beautiful. All the boats and the beautiful weather, it was priceless. We started at one end of the wharf and walked down the street, and one of the first places I had seen, which I thought was really interesting, was this place called Boudin Sourdough, and they make sourdough bread and all kinds of sourdough shapes, and they have a humongous glass window where one of the bakers actually talks and makes bread at the same time. This girl happens to be making a sourdough turtle, if I'm not mistaken, and it is really the cutest thing. And you can ask her questions as she's putting this together, and she talks back to you too. So I kind of like that little interaction there. As we were walking down the street, our friends had said that they thought they might have wanted to try to eat some seafood out of the stands located at the corner of one of the streets. However, as we got to the stand, the food didn't look really appetizing, so we decided against it.
Are you guys hungry?
So let me share with you guys a funny thing. As we were walking down the street to go find another place to eat, there was this guy. Now, there are a lot of people, homeless people, people begging for money, stuff like that, street performers and whatnot. But there was this guy, and I think he was homeless, but the way he was making his money was he would sit next to this trash can and cover himself up with these branches. And as people would walk by, he would scare them. And I don't know why. I just thought that shit was funny. So like I actually videotaped it because to see people's reactions to being scared by this guy, it was just hilarious. So I hope you guys find it funny because I thought it was extremely funny. So after catching our laughs from that guy and scaring people, we walked a little further down and actually ended up at this little family-owned restaurant called Pompey's. And I think they're open, they said, the little sign says that they've been open since 1946 or so. And we went there and it was really great because again, the weather was just beautiful and we were able to sit outside under these umbrellas. And we started off our brunch by having some bruschetta. We all shared bruschetta, and then I happen to have their crab leg buffet because I stinking love crab legs. So after having my friend Sherry's very first time at Fisherman's Wharf, we decided that we had to head back to our area She wanted to do a little bit more shopping, but she had to hurry up because they had to catch a plane. But I wanted to show you guys one particular place in San Francisco that I was eyeing. Now this is a little shop. It's called Cuyana. And some of you might have heard about it from Instagram or online or whatever. I have been considering getting their items for, I want to say, about a year. I was kind of up in the air between them and another place, but because I was in San Francisco and they have a shop there, which is a very exclusive little shop, which is why I want to show you, I figured, you know what, I might as well go and check out their products, and if I like it, I'm going to get it now. So we went upstairs, and they are located in this building that is right above the Art of Shaving. You actually have to go into the elevator to the second floor, and it is a very tiny, it's a very boutique style shopping. It has two girls that work there, and as you can see, if you're looking around, it's very, very tiny. And basically, anything that you like, you have to order it, and then they hand make it and then ship it off to you. So I did buy a few things. I did some damage in this store, but let me tell you what, their products are, they're leather. I love leather. I am a leather lover, okay? Their products are so soft and supple, but it's actually well made. And so I did purchase some travel sets, an actual passport holder, or what is it called, a travel document holder. I did buy one of their clutches, which is not actually a clutch, but I'm turning it into a clutch because I do love clutches too. And then I bought a tote that I had monogrammed. And I purchased their stuff while I was in store, which was awesome. And customer service there, or the girls there, are just so phenomenal. But literally, by the time I got back to my hotel room, I had already had my email saying that my item was already in the process of being made, and then it would ship out on Monday. Now let me show you one of the cutest things as we were in the shop, as we were in Cuyana. There was this girl and a guy, and she was also looking at some of the things that I was looking at, and we were talking story because she had asked me what my opinions of it was, and I had told her how long I've actually been researching this company and their products and whatnot. But anyway, she was there with her dog. Oh my God. The dog's name was Buddy, and he was the most obedient dog ever. Pick it up. Let's go.
Let's go. Walk yourself out.
Come on.
Go.
Let's go. Go, go. You are so smart. I have mints in my bag. I don't have treats. Go. Bye, buddy. Oh. So after we went shopping for me, and believe me, there was a lot of shopping for me in San Francisco, my husband decided that it was time for him to do some shopping, and he wanted to buy artwork. So we actually visited some of the little galleries on the side street, and he chose out a few pieces, which really, artwork can be very expensive, as I have found. But he did find a couple of pieces that he liked, and so we had them shipped back to our house. Then my husband said he was tired, so he was like, I'm gonna go back to the room and lay down. And my sister and I were like, okay, we're not tired, we're gonna continue to shop. So we actually did some damage and walked down and went to Urban Outfitters, Aldo, H&M again, Forever 21. This happens to be one of the, oh, what is it called? Uniqlo. This happens to be one of the art pieces in Urban Outfitters, which is strings, because the fad now, or the trend, happens to be like the string art. So I was like, oh, I like that. Let me take a picture of it. Now, one of the funniest things as we were walking around shopping was all of a sudden, there were these bunch of ladies. There must have been like 10 of them, and they were all dressed up as brides. And I'm not exactly sure why, but I just thought it was kind of hysterical. So that's kind of the funny thing, is when you're walking around San Francisco, like, you never know what you're gonna see, you know, like these brides who had said to everybody else that they got their dresses from Goodwill. Yeah, you just never know. Last time I was in San Francisco, my husband and I ate at this little sushi place called Dojima-an, and it is so great. They they have sushi, tempura, and teriyaki stuff. So if you guys are familiar with those things, this is someplace that you guys might want to check out too, because it is really, really delicious. It's a little small, hole in the wall again. I love little hole in the walls, as you can tell. But they have really good food. Now this place, maximum seating, I want to say is probably about 40 people, if that at all. But it was so good. I happen to have zaru soba, which is cold soba noodles. You can have soba noodles, which is buckwheat noodles, either hot or cold. I prefer it cold. With the side order of quail egg, and then my sister and I shared some gyoza again, because again we love gyoza. And my sister happened to have chicken katsu, and shared with me and she had miso soup and salad, which is the norm for a Japanese restaurant. And literally, like, for all of the food that we have was not even, I want to say our bill came out to $30. So to me, that's really inexpensive. Oh, and I also ordered sushi, but she forgot to bring my sushi. So that night, my sister said she wanted to watch the UFC fight, but we also had to get something to eat too. So we again did sushi, and I literally can eat Japanese food every single day. Like, I can eat Japanese food and noodles and any kind of Asian food every single day of my life, no joke. So we went to this other place, and it was really cool because you actually had to go downstairs, a flight of stairs, to get to the restaurant. It was this underground sushi restaurant in a cellar kind of thing. It was very cool. I happened to have an order of, or several orders of my favorite ebi sushi and a side order of teriyaki chicken. My sister had sushi, my husband had sushi, and a side order of salad. And the thing I noticed about Asian restaurants or Japanese restaurants is their salad seems to be so fresh all the time. It was just so good. Now, so we strolled after dinner down the street quite a ways to this restaurant bar called Jillian's to watch the UFC fight. So for a cover charge, we sat there, had drinks, and was able to watch the UFC fight that my sister wanted to watch. Her and my husband, they love MMA, UFC kind of things. So pretty much that's what we did after we ate sushi. After that, my sister, we headed back to our hotel area because my sister had to get up really early. Her fight was first thing in the morning at 6 a.m. so she had to get up by 4. And so she decided to call it a night. So she went back to her hotel, and my husband was like, the night is still young, honey. Let's go do something. So I was like, okay. So we strolled around our area, around our hotel area again to venture out and see what else there was. And my husband was like, you know what, let's go get a nightcap. So we did. We ended up walking up the street to this restaurant called 398, which was this really cool vibe kind of thing where you walk in and everything's kind of industrial on the inside, where it's like concrete and brick walls and open beams and stuff like that. But my husband had this dish called, oh shucks, I can't remember, but I'll put it here. And I happen to have one of their cheese boards, which is various types of cheeses, and then nuts and some apricots and some bread. And their bread was so stinging delicious. The outside crust was like crunchy, but the inside was nice and soft. That's a sign of a good restaurant, in my opinion, is if they have good bread to start. So we had that as a nightcap, you know, our dishes, and then some drinks, and we sat there and we talked story. I always treasure times like this because this is kind of our time for us to reconnect and stay connected and enjoy each other's company. And this is how my husband and I, we keep it fresh and lively after all these years of being married. And believe me, we have been married like a long time. So that was like the end of our night. And after we had our nightcap at restaurant 398, we headed back to our room and actually had to pack up and get ready to leave because we were leaving the next morning. So now it's Sunday morning and it's time to leave. We are homeward bound. And San Francisco has been so great to me the both times that I have gone. I just really love the city. I was not able to catch up with some of the people that I had thought to because it wasn't enough time. And like I said, I was there for business and pleasure, but I didn't show you the business part of it because that's just boring. But I love being there because I have a thing that I need to be around water, especially ocean water. It's very healing for me. So being close to the ocean was like something that I needed. Plus it was fuel for the soul. Not only that, but being there with my husband and meeting our good friends there, our best friends there, a group, well, this is one group of best friends that we have, and then my sister. I mean, with good food and just a good time. I mean, San Francisco will always like be one of my favorite places. So once we got to the airport, we always have some breakfast before we leave. And then I was weirdly at the little candy store and ended up finding these jelly beans that have different yucky flavors to them. Well, my kids have been on the hunt for these and we could not find them where we live. So because I was at the airport and I found them, I took a little picture and I texted them saying, here, I found your little yucky jelly bean thingies. And then we got on our plane and headed back towards home. But it was so great, San Francisco. It was such a great time. So if you guys ever get a chance to visit San Francisco, please do, because I have nothing but great things to say about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. If you guys did and you would like to see more vlogs, because I do have another coming up from my Vegas trip, because yes, as I said before, I actually traveled twice in March. I was home every other week pretty much if I wasn't traveling. But if you guys liked it and you want to see another vlog, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and I will link for everything that I did, all the restaurants that I visited and some of the shops that I visited in the description box below. So if you guys are interested, you can go ahead and click that and check that out for yourselves. So I appreciate you guys watching. Take care.